Hey everyone, and welcome to another Kanoa Reviews. Today we're going to review Super Mario Sunshine, one of my most fond memories back on the GameCube. This game came out when I was 12, and remember well on being so excited of getting home after school to play the newest proper Mario game since Super Mario 64. There was a lot of hype behind it, but in the end, a lot of people think that Super Mario Sunshine is one of the weaker, if not the weakest of the main 3D Mario titles, spin-offs like the Sporting series not included. To many, Mario 64, Galaxy, or the more recent Odyssey top their charts. And that was always weird to me, because I had such good memories from this game, and I remember coming back to it multiple times just because I adored the vacation and tropical vibe so much. But it might surprise you, but after playing it again recently and having experienced Super Mario Odyssey, I might understand some of the criticism that this game is getting. Let's dive deeper and find out what they are. But first, let's start with some positivity, as this game is full of it. From the moment you start the game and you see the intro cutscene, I just love the vibrant colors and the feeling of going on vacation. Mario, Peach, and Toadsworth have deserted a vacation after hard work of playing carts and tennis, and they head towards Delfino Island. Once they arrive on the island though, some weird glowing paint has been splurged on the landing strip, and Mario needs to figure out how to get rid of it. He does this with a little sprinkler robot named Flood. This was one of the first Mario games that really revolved around a gimmick, something that has also been done with Mario Odyssey in the form of Cappy, but with greater success. With Flood, you can spray the paint to make it go away. You can switch the mode to a hover jet to fly over open spaces, and eventually unlock a water rocket boost to reach higher places, or a speed burst to run really fast and across water. All sorts of puzzles and enemies are revolved around using this gimmick, and I know that to some, this is one of the reasons why they dislike this game a bit more. Mario needs to be about platforming, about jumping and exploring, not about standing still and aiming a water spout at something. And though I can see their point, to me it never had been bothersome. I use the hover jet function the most of all the modes, and use that during platforming. So to me, it feels like a great addition since you can save a badly timed jump by hovering back. With Flood, you then head to defeat your first somewhat boss battle on the airstrip, since a painted piranha plant emerges from the paint, and you need to spray it with water every time it opens its mouth. After that is done, Mario gets arrested, as a lookalike imposter has been spraying paint and graffiti all over the island of Delfino. As punishment, Mario needs to clean up the entire island and retrieve shines instead of the usual stars back to have the light return to the island. And thus, you get to explore the hub world and its stages that hide within. Once you are in control again, it just dawns on you how nice it is to be in this game's world. The aesthetics, the colors, the catchy music, everything screams that you are on vacation. Mario even has short sleeves in this game to make his summer look complete. Delfino Plaza, the hub area where you unlock all the stages, is just a true joy to explore and walk, run, and jump around in. Tropical fruit and seafood are being sold on the colorful market, boats are cruising through the canals with crystal clear water, yellow beaches with the blue sea are just too inviting not to take a quick dive to cool off, and the quirky Delfino inhabitants make the experience complete with their Hawaiian shirts. I cannot emphasize enough of how much I love this tropical vacation feel that this game offers, and it has never been done better in any other Mario game in my opinion. But again, replaying this now made me realize it might not be as perfect as I remembered. For starters, to unlock the first stage, you need to fight another painted piranha plant boss like you did in the airstrip. Then, you unlock the first stage, and your first objective in that stage is to fight a third painted piranha plant, and shortly after, you need to fight a fourth and even a fifth one. I am not kidding in that I had to fight 5 of these boss battles in the first hour of playing this game. Now the battles are not that long, but they are not that exciting either. The interesting aspect of it kinda already wore off with the third encounter, so to have to face it another 2 times so shortly after is kind of a waste. And other games get criticized too for recycling boss battles, so Mario Sunshine should be no exception. And this is just regarding the piranha plant monster, but they do it with other bosses as well. The squid boss you first meet at the harbor has a pretty interesting but quite long battle, with you having to rip out his tentacles 8 times and yank his beak to defeat him. But after that, you will encounter it at least 2 more times in other levels or missions, and it just feels cheap and repetitive, especially since the battles themselves don't add a whole lot of new mechanics to the battle. And let's talk about the stages themselves. There are 7 main stages in Super Mario Sunshine, which might also be a reason why some people like this game less than others. Super Mario 64 had 15 stages, and Mario Odyssey had 14. That means that for an average Mario game, Mario Sunshine has only half the amount of average levels. They are also not that varied in terms of setting. There is, for example, no snow level, no desert level, etc. But instead, they all have a take on the tropics, and fate would have it that the tropics are my favorite setting in any video game. Tropical islands, or beach levels, are often my favorite in games purely by the aesthetics, and Mario Sunshine nails this, in my opinion, to a T. Yes, there are indeed less levels than other Mario games, and you do notice that when playing, but some of the levels are absolutely gorgeous and great fun to explore. It begins with Blanco Hills, where you explore the southern-feeling tropical village with white lime walls that is surrounded by a beautiful serene lake with palm trees on the shore and a bright white road that leads up to a giant windmill. The music, again, is great and just makes you feel at ease, making you want to explore and take it easy. The next one is the Harbour level, and just seeing all the colors brings the biggest smile to my face. There's just so much to see, and it is an overload for the senses in a good way. Again, bright blue water takes the overtone with colorful houses at the side, and boats and yachts of all sizes sit in the harbor while cranes move up and down in the sky, creating a lively, vibrant world. Honestly, you should experience the feeling this game gives you when it's raining so hard outside, and you turn on this game and you just feel all those lovely summer vibes and colors coming your way. Then the third stage is a bright yellow beach with wacky enemies guarding it, and again a beautiful ocean that now is worth exploring with a gorgeous coral reef and even a beach house at the end of a pier that serves watermelon smoothies. Dang it! Now I want a watermelon smoothie myself. When you get to the fourth stage, it's a giant tropical theme park, and everything yet again is just so bright and vibrant and perfectly fits that vacation setting. There are attractions like a Yoshi carousel or pirate ships that do loop-de-loops, and even a working roller coaster and Ferris wheel. It isn't until the 5th stage when I had a stage that I liked a little less. I believe the 5th stage is called Noki Bay, and it's this giant bay and reef where the level design is very vertical, but in my opinion to a fault. When you make a mistake or get hit by something, you have quite a high chance of falling down and having to traverse all the way up again. The tempo of these stages are also often not that fast, since you have to stop to spray water in a jar to make an elevator work, or ascend small cracks in the wall that appear after spraying water on a certain emblem. Luckily, the next stage is a solid one again, with it being Hotel Delfino, a luxurious hotel at the beach during a beautiful sunset. This is the first level that's not that bright, but it's still full of color and atmosphere. It even plays on it not being that bright since the hotel is haunted. The build-up is great too, with the first objective being only on the beach, and you slowly getting to explore more and more of the hotel as you go along and get more objectives. The hotel is complete with a spa, a casino, and of course toilets with a zebra print. How much more tropical do you want it? Then the last proper stage is again one that is a little less fun, with it being at night and it just feels like your average forest level rather than anything particularly tropical or vacation-like. But having 5 out of the 7 levels be really good is excellent in my opinion. Despite them all sharing the same setting of the tropics, they still feel very distinct, with the harbor being more industrial, the hotel being more serene, and the theme park being more jolly. They each stand on their own, and just thinking about those stages makes me want to jump back into the game, put on some sunglasses, and go on vacation once more. Speaking of sunglasses, there are some fun unlockables, including sunglasses and a Hawaiian shirt for Mario. But the sunglasses make the game appear darker, which is something I definitely do not want, so I refrain from using those. Now, the gameplay of Mario Sunshine takes the blueprints from Mario 64 in that you enter each world and get a certain objective to complete that rewards you with a shine. So when you are done with one objective and enter the world again, you are tasked with a different one that often has you head to a different area of that level you had already been to. Sometimes the world is expanded, and sometimes you get to focus in a certain area where not much was going on before. It's really effective in utilizing the giant levels and their design to its fullest. And I like it a lot more than, let's say, a platform game like Ukulele, where a lot is locked behind certain parameters that you need to adhere first. The objective is always clear, like head to this area, or defeat a boss, collect 8 red coins, or chase the Mario imposter until you catch him. Once you have at least 50 shines and have done the Mario imposter chase missions, you can head towards the final boss level. There are 120 shines to collect, so I think having you face the end boss at around 50% of the game is a pretty good deal, especially since some of those shines to complete involve getting 100 coins in each stage, which is not the most exciting thing to do. But here we have another point of critique, and something that in my opinion is actually the biggest point of critique, and that is the objective variety. The main Mario games are all about variety, and Mario 64 did this so well for its time. Mario Galaxy did it, and Mario Odyssey nailed it as well, with you just having to do so many different things. But Mario Sunshine is quite repetitive with its objectives, and many are just copied and pasted in all stages. For example, each stage has 8 different objectives, but in some of these objectives, the same boss gets recycled. Then all these stages have 2 stages where you need to collect 8 coins, which again does not feel like a whole lot of effort has been put into those objectives. Some of those work really well, like giving you a reason to explore the coral reef, whereas anytime else there's no reason to be there. Each stage also has objectives where you need to enter a cave or doorway to complete a bonus stage. These bonus stages are quite varied, but you know what to expect every time. Go here and then do this type of level. But then, there are also the earlier mentioned chase levels, where you need to run after Shadow Mario in each stage at least once. You do the same objectives over and over and over again in all these stages, and I think that is quite a mistake. It is a shame too, because the levels themselves are so excellent that they just ooze with potential on cool and unique objectives per stage. Not a whole lot is, for example, done with the attractions in the theme park stage, and not a whole lot is done with the awesome large sandcastles and sculptures on the beach. This is indeed where I came to understand some of the criticism and was my biggest shock and discovery when replaying it recently. I think the game nails aesthetics better than any Mario game, but gameplay-wise in terms of objectives and variety, it's indeed not the greatest out there. But let's end on a high note. You can ride Yoshi in this. All jokes aside, it is actually very cool that Yoshi is in this, but the positive point I'm talking about are the bonus levels. I mentioned that their objectives might not be very varied because you always know you are heading to a doorway to perform a bonus level, but these bonus levels themselves are awesome and very varied, with one little bit of critique from my book. So these levels really take Mario back to where it all began, where it strips you from the water spout and you are solely left to your manual jumping and running. You need to complete stages where you need to traverse surfaces in all shapes and sizes. Some float in the air, some spin around, and some disappear after a while. They don't obey the laws of physics at all, but harbor back to some of the greater levels from Mario 64. This is also often the part that people who critique the game actually really like about it. They say that they might not like the FLUDD gameplay, but the bonus levels is exactly how they like their Mario. Platforming per song. And though I do indeed love them too, with their catchy a cappella Mario tune and varied stages, I do miss context that I get with the regular stages. Like I said, most levels are just shapes hovering in midair, and I'm more of a context guy, like having the village on the hills or a serene hotel at the beach during sundown. So we have come now to the end of the review, and it's really difficult for me to come up with a good score since I love so much about this, but have come to find out that I don't love it as much as I remember due to the gameplay objectives. The game absolutely sets a gold standard for vibe and atmosphere, earning the best in the Mario franchise. There's no other Mario game that has a vibe or world like this that I'd rather be in. If you're sad, see if you play this game cheers you up a bit. It's that good. The levels might not be that many, but they are right up my alley. But where I strike a hurdle is the repetitive nature in so many of the objectives. It makes it to where I sometimes did not feel like going back into a world because I knew that the next mission would be another type I had just done in a different world. Is it still my favorite Mario game? Maybe in terms of returning to this game just to be in that world again, but gameplay wise, I do think Odyssey is better. It's been so long since I played Mario 64 that I have to revisit that one again to judge how it compares to Sunshine, but for now, Mario Sunshine ends up with a score of an 8.8. A great score, but don't forget that some of the other Mario games I have reviewed have scored even higher than that. So it might be considered on the lower spectrum compared to some of the major Mario games. If it had more levels, less gimmicky gameplay with FLUDD, and more varied objectives, it could have also easily been high above a 9. Nevertheless, I just cannot get enough of this game and know I will revisit it again more than once in the future whenever I am in need of a digital vacation. Someone bring the cocktails and the sunscreen, and I'll bring the sunshine.